Hey everybody, it's Big Dave and welcome back. And today we're going to talk about the top challenges of leadership in the business world today. And before I get into that, I really want to talk to you about why that's so important because leadership above all is what matters most. Without a good leader, things are not going to move the way you expect them to move, and you're going to create so much more chaos within your life. Whether you're the CEO or whether you're in customer service or whether you're somewhere in between, it doesn't matter. The same leadership principles apply to whoever you are leading. Great leadership isn't about avoiding problems. It's about mastering them. Why do I say that? I say that because too many people, they avoid it, kick the can down the road and just don't deal with it. No, that's not leadership. You learn to take a challenge, you learn to overcome it, and you move along. I think we should start off as a baseline of what today is like. I mean, today things move so fast. Everything can come so fast. Data can come so fast. Change can come so fast. Things are moving constantly. The data that you get can make you and require you to make change so fast. And the pace is immense. And that pace is what gets people in trouble because you feel overwhelmed. And your teams are so much more diverse. The people you work with have so many different expectations, and expectations, talk about expectations are only rising. And as they rise, it's up to you as the leader to figure out how to overcome all that. So it's not just your employees, it's your customers, it's everybody. Expectations are rising in today's environment. Leadership isn't just about managing. It never has been. It's about inspiring. It's about adapting. And it's about growth and growing, personal growth and company growth. That's leadership. And the realistic part of all this is the role of leadership today has never been more important nor more complex because you need to lead through the challenges. And so many people don't want to talk about it. They're afraid. They won't even get rid of a bad leader because they don't have a good leader to put in there. That makes no sense. A bad leader only gets you crappy results. They don't mean to be bad, but here's the thing. You got to work on being good. And if you're not setting them through training, you're not doing things with them in order to help, your whole mission suffers. Well, yeah, that's kind of like how it is today. But you know what else is always happening is there's uncertainty. There's always uncertainty. And that uncertainty creates chaos. And without some sort of control, chaos wins because chaos loves to win. And when you have disruption, and you have uncertainty and they're both there, and you just let chaos reign supreme, the best you're going to do is stay the same. But it sure as heck isn't likely you're going to go one way, and that's down. Now you're going to ask me, well, why is that? Why does all this stuff come in? Why does it all happen? It's because of technology, really. I'm going to say it that way. Technology does it. It's always been there, but just not at the pace that we are at today. Technology rules because everything's happening so fast. Within months, because of AI, you can have something so significantly different that whatever tools you're using are now inconsequential. Regulations are going to change depending upon whoever's ruling in non-government. Regulations are constantly changing. It's just going one way or the other, and that's just how it goes throughout the years. And then the markets and the dynamics of the marketplace are changing with age. As people age, everything changes. As people age from 18 to 25, those from 25 to 32, all the way up. And let's say the people now from 60 to 68, as they age and move up, it's changing the buying patterns. It's changing the demographics and the habits. All of these things are going to cause you disruptions. And here's a little secret. As a leader, you're going to have to make decisions with incomplete information. I know, but that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to make decisions with incomplete information. Why? Because it's changing so fast, you'll never get something complete. And remember, a plan violently executed right now is better than the perfect plan 6 months from now. Why do I say that? Because you must learn to adapt quickly and move in a direction. And it may not be the right direction, but now you're one step closer to the right direction. And if you're paying attention close enough and you're good at what you do, you're going to go in the right direction anyway. You might ask me, why is all this? Why am I saying it? Why is disruption such a thing? Because it's important. Without you being agile as a leader, because it's the norm, man. That's the norm now, is disruption, uncertainty. So without someone there to right the ship, people are going to be in chaos. Nobody wants that. And you move along with, after the uncertainty, is the digital chaos. The digital changes within the digital world are crazy. I mean, AI, what's it doing? What it can do now, and just from a year ago, is ridiculous. I mean, there's automation now with AI's help that is reshaping entire industries, reshaping what can be done. There's even talk about how businesses can be completely AI based. This is crazy. It's something that is a disruption. I already talked about that, causing uncertainty. So what do you do as a leader? You go and master overcoming the problems. You don't run from them. You go in and you start figuring it out. You know, one of the things too, as a leader, with all this we just talked about, you need to be a tech champion. I'm going to say it that way. You need to be the champion of technology, meaning that you're the one who is going to constantly be looking at what technology can increase your efficiencies, can increase your ability to service the customers, your ability to make products quicker, faster, your ability to take time out of a process, your ability to improve a process. There's so much technology out there. You have to be the champion of that. And when you're championing of that, one of the tools you need to use is the balance between the human and the technology, the human and the AI. You balance those, you're going to get a wonderful, amazing result. When you go one way too far, now it can become a competitive disadvantage. That balance is what's going to lead you to the opportunities you want as a leader to get better. As we go through and talk about what's going on with today's business challenges, I also want to talk about how things are happening within the office. And what I mean by that is there's going to be hybrid. Hybrids are going to be necessary, but so is office. So balance, I'm going to talk about that a lot, and being strategic is going to be important. If there are roles where people can work from home and you have great you have great benchmarks, you can easily have remote workers. If you don't have great benchmarks and you don't know what your remote workers are doing, then they should be in the office. So it's just simple as that, is that when you look at that, but there needs to be a hybrid as to how you work with that, and learning how you work with that. Now, because it's remote, that is going to require you as a leader to act different. You can't be the same. Dealing with someone through a video or FaceTime or Skype or Teams or shows my age, I said Skype, is different than when you're in person, because your in-person skills are different than your video skills. You have to learn leadership that's a little different. That's on you as a leader. When there's a distance and they don't see you and feel it and you're on a camera, trust becomes an issue, and that distance causes trust issues. Now, at the same time, you might have an employee that is really good, but they need to be remote for their own family reasons. So how do you balance that? It's up to you as the leader to balance that and understand the things you can do in order to still build that trust, even though you're far away and not in person. It does require different skills. And that's where culture really comes in, is your culture has to be defined. It's not going to just define itself. And when you got a hybrid workforce, it's really not going to define itself at all. Let's say you're lucky with the traditional office one and it did define itself. It isn't going to happen in a hybrid workforce. You have to define what your culture is, what you want it to be, and act that way accordingly. The culture comes from all of you. And since all of you are in separate locations, build that culture. And you might be sitting there going, well, Dave, why is that important? Well, cultures are your glue. You want to know what keeps people together? It's the culture. I mean, you may work at the crappiest company that just treats people like crap, but yet you have a good boss and a good team. And it's the culture of that team that keeps you there. It's not the company. See, culture rules all. It's the glue of what keeps people around and keeps them feeling valued. And only you as a leader can do that. And along with the hybrid workforce comes the challenge of employee engagement. How do you get your employees to actually give a darn? Well, culture's one. That's the glue. But here's some secrets. The secrets of what today's workforce is really looking for. They're looking for autonomy. They're looking for meaning and to be psychologically safe. What I mean by that is they don't want to be attacked. You understand? They want to be safe mentally, and they want to be able to be safe with their job. But the mental part right now is trumping. They want to be safe from being mentally just destroyed. There's a whole section we can talk about that, but that's along the lines of old school, get in your face and yell at someone. That's not psychological safety at all. That's the opposite. Even though some of us old school guys, that's what we're used to. We actually will sometimes crave that. Excuse me. But that is not what today's workforce is after, wants, desires. So your culture and psychologically safe all have to mend together to get that employee engagement. If you and they can't feel that safety, the engagement just goes right down the tubes, and they're just going to go, I'm only going to do what I'm told. That's it. You know, that the burnout, quiet quitting, disengagement from your people are such real threats to every single one of you that you should be paying attention right now. But guess what? You won't, because you're all going to be stuck in your own thing. All of that is such a key part because you can't find the great people. And if you just learn to lead, you won't have to worry about finding the great people because they ain't going to leave you. Why is this so important? Engagement comes from these things. The comfort and your people wanting to be engaged stems from everything we talked about. Let me say it this way. It drives your performance. It drives your innovation. It drives your results. So learn these leadership skills. Don't just sit on the sideline and go, I've always done it this way. Oh, that's not how this works. We're all improving as the course of time, and everything is changing because of social media. You got to change with it as a leader. You can do it. You're already leading. It's just learning a few different skill sets. And as leaders, we do have our own challenges, and I don't want to miss this. Yes, you have a duty to be there for all the people that you're responsible for and leading. Yes, you have a duty to perform for your company. But yes, it's going to create challenges to you like you have never experienced if you're new to this. And you're going to know what I'm talking about if you've been doing this a while. And what's that? That's learning to deal with complexity, inclusion, and loneliness. I know you probably didn't expect the third one, but that's a huge part. When you're at the top and or leading anywhere at the top and people consider you at the top, you can be an on-the-floor lead. You can be an on-the-floor manager. You can be managing customer service. You can be an accounting manager. You could be the CFO, the CEO, the president. You could be a VP of something. At some point, you're going to feel that loneliness. And it's a real thing because you're battling, and it's going to feel like you're battling by yourself. But you're not. But that doesn't mean that's not how you're going to feel, especially when the pressure's on. It's going to feel like, oh, I'm sitting out here all on my own. Well, that's going to be a lot to take and a lot to talk about, but it's a real thing. And here's what I can tell you. Focus on your people and the direction you want to go in order to improve, and the rest will work itself out. I'm not saying, but I am saying to ignore the loneliness, but I am saying ignore it because in time that loneliness will go away because now you're focused and you're focused on the improvement and you're focused on it. And then when you learn to manage upward is really where that loneliness starts to go away. Never completely. You'll always have a sense of that, but you'll start to learn to balance it. And it won't be such an awful feeling as you're trying to maneuver and move for improvement. Now, we can go into a lot more detail if you want to. Comment if you want more on that. But it's a real thing, and I wanted to make sure that we're talking about it because this is just a big, brief thing of today's business world of how you lead and what do you lead through it and the problems that are out there. I'm going to leave you with this. The challenges that you face don't define you. They don't at all. But your responses do. Let me say that again. The challenges you face are not going to define you, but your responses do. Take that in. Breathe it for a minute. Your challenges, your problems are invitations to grow. See them that way. Don't see them as roadblocks. Don't see them as, oh my God, another thing. Don't see them that way. These are opportunities for growth. And not everything's going to go your way, and that's life. But the more you look at things as opportunity to growth and to attack and figure it out, the more you're going to find solutions. The more you find solutions, the faster you're able to move. The faster you're able to move, the more valuable you become. It's just a sliding effect that can help you rapidly grow as a person, a leader, and with money and responsibility, if that should be your desire. The future really does belong to those who can lead through all these challenges, for those who can lead through complexity, for those who can lead with clarity. And lastly, for those who can lead with courage. And I believe you are one of them, because if you're listening to this and you're interested, that means you have the desire to get better. And if you have the desire to get better, you will get better, because that means if you keep thinking about it, you're going to take the action and get some leadership training, read some books, do some things that will allow you to improve and get better as a leader. That's all I got for today. Great talking to y'all. Have a good one.